Hey everyone, welcome back to Detox Learning Series, and today we are going to talk about application testing methodology. In this application testing methodology, I will be walking you through the various testing methodologies that I have been using so far, which gives me good results when it comes to penetration testing or bug bounty. After discussing the initial testing methodology, we will solve some available labs over juice shop to understand that how we can actually apply this methodology in real life. Apart from solving some traditional challenges which are already there, I will also walk you through from a pen tester's perspective that how we start to do a pen test or how we look at a particular application when it comes to penetration testing, mapping out various entry exit points, performing various kind of testing, when to automate something and when to start performing things manually, how to use burp suite efficiently, and there will be a lot of interesting thing in between. So let's look into it. The first thing is the application testing methodology. The first thing is define your target scope. When you are doing pen testing or bug bounty, you should be sure that you are staying inside the given scope. So for defining the target scope, always read the outlines provided by your client or the bug bounty program. So once you know that what your target scope is, now start understanding the application's business logic. Now, the best way to understand the business logic is to start navigate the application as a normal user. So once you start navigating application as a normal user and try to understand their various functionality are there, let's say it's an e-commerce application, you have a functionality to add something to cart, you have a functionality to add something to wish list, you have functionality to buy something, maybe you have functionality to gift something, rate something. There are a lot of functionalities. Understand what are the unique business logic an application is providing. Let's say in our example e-commerce application, you have an option where on every single purchase you will get some particular amount as a gift card value or as some discount bonus or something which will get back into your wallet. Right now, the application do not properly perform the validation on these business logic, and as a result I can put an order, I can place an order, I will get credit of that particular gift card, I can utilize that gift card amount. Okay, and now I will cancel my order, and still there will be no deduction back on that gift card amount which I already used. So these things basically financially impact the application, and for application like e-commerce, these are really important security issues. More of security issues, they are logical issues, but you should always look for such things. Prepare a threat map for each and every application that you are testing. So let me tell you what a threat map is. Basically, threat map is a theoretical understanding of the security vulnerabilities that may be found. It is not compulsory that they will exist, but they might exist in the application system. Now, let's say again, take an example of e-commerce application. You have an add to cart functionality, or you have a simply a cart functionality, right? Now, what an attacker can basically do over here, an attacker can add an item to some other user's cart, delete an item from some other user's cart, maybe read some other user's cart, right? Or maybe update some other user's cart, right? So there are four operations: create, read, update, and delete, right? So this is called CRUD, C-R-U-D, create, read, update, and delete. So based upon the CRUD rating or CRUD attack scenarios for each functionality, we create potential attack vectors or potential attack scenarios. Like an attacker can basically add an item to some other user's card that impacts the C of CRUD. An attacker can read some other user's card that affects the R of CRUD. Attacker can update some other user's card that defines your U of CRUD, and again delete defines the D of CRUD. Now, for each and every functionality, like let's say there is a rating functionality, right? An attacker can rate as another user, an attacker can edit the given rating, an attacker can update the given rating, an attacker can delete the given rating, or an update can let's say read the private ratings or private reviews. Now again, these are the potential test cases. The threat mapping gives you a bigger picture of what exactly you can look for apart from the general top 10 issues. Like let's say you are looking for SQL injection, you are looking for cross-site scripting, you are looking for various logical issues. But having a threat map gives you an idea that, okay, there's an upload functionality, an attacker can try to upload a malicious file. An attacker can try to perform a denial of service attack. An attacker can try to say delete or read some other user's file. So there are a lot of scenarios where you will see that, okay, I can do this, I can do that. ultimately giving a very big picture about the potential threat map and potential threat cases. Now, once you have a big chunk of threat cases, you now have a bigger checklist to perform and bigger attack surface to perform, resulting into a better findings in your and happy clients. And if you're doing bug bounty and using this methodology, you can always like have some good security issues in your table. Now, it comes perform a scope based recon. So perform a scope based recon is something that we have already discussed in the last series of video, that how we can perform scope based recon. Let's say you have a single URL, we will consider it as a single scope or small scope. You have, let's say, wildcard URLs, let's say start.target.com, we will consider a medium scope. And you have, let's say, everything owned by the company in a scope, that's a large scope, right? So Project Beam, and there are some other frameworks. So right now, Project Beam is the only framework which supports scope-based recon, and it saves you a lot of time. We have already created an in-depth video defining scope-based recon and how I do reconnaissance in my daily life. So this will help you out for sure. Once you have done everything, you have a bigger attack surface, you have a lot of endpoint to test for, you've done all of the recon. Now it comes for the manual pen test, where you will actually fire up your burp suite and will start navigating the various functionalities and testing for the various security issues. These issues will include your OWASP ASVS checklist, your OWASP top 10 checklist, your custom checklist if you have any, the threat, the cases that you evolved from the threat mapping scenarios. So ultimately, you will have a bigger pool of things to check while doing manual pen test. Then perform application specific attacks. Let's say the application is built on the top of, let's say, some client-side templates, like client-side template engines, like let's say built on the Angular or React or something. You should go and try for client-side template injection to find a access-like scenario. Let's say your application is built on the top of Ruby on Rails, so you should go and focus some attack scenario specific to Ruby on Rails. On the same side, if your application is on PHP, try for PHP object injection and try for PHP specific scenarios. Let's say your application is using Spring Boots, try to check if the actual endpoints are available or not. Then there can be a lot of scenarios similarly that what you can do from those, but always make sure to perform application specific attacks. Learn what you lack and again hit back on the target. This is the essential step, most crucial step, I would say, that whenever you are stuck, whenever you don't know what to do, just learn back where you lack and again hit back on the target. Now, since we already had a quick idea of what threat mapping is, let me again quickly tell you that what threat mapping is all about. So when you do threat mapping, the first step is to quickly navigate the application, navigate all the components and like completely navigate each and every functionality. From there, you will get to know that, okay, the application is, let's say, 10 functionalities and there are various 20 functions and all. List down all those functionalities. Okay, let's say module wise. So cart is a module, your basket or cart is a module, then your item page is a module, your profile page is a module. So divide it that way. Then write the theoretical attack scenario for each function as we discussed a bit earlier. Now, for those scenarios, create possible confidentiality, integrity, and availability, or CRUD, create, read, update, and delete impact scenarios. This will give you a big checklist, right? So when it comes to CIA, this is something that we actually look for while we do a pen test, that what is the impact upon confidentiality. Can, as an attacker, I am able to read some other user sensitive information? As an attacker, is it possible for me to change or modify other user settings or account or something? Is it possible as an attacker for me to basically make sure that the resources requested by a legit user are not available to it, or the application is totally down or something, so impacting the availability factor, right? Again, as we discussed, can I create something to some other user's account? Can I read some sensitive information which I should not have access to? Can I update something which I am not actually having permission to do? Or is it possible for me to delete some resources which should not be deleted by my user or as an unauthorized user? So these are some CRUD and CIA scenarios which you should look for. Once you have a big checklist doing this, verify all these test cases while you perform a manual assessment. So again, navigate the application, list out all the components, write theoretical attack scenarios, and create a checklist based upon CI and CRUD impact. And at the end, verify all those test cases while you perform your assessment. Now, next comes the manual testing approach. This is really important that you understand the application's workflow. If you are not sure how application works or how the application flow is, you might miss a lot of issues. Let me give you an example. uh, there is an input field which takes an input and reflects it somewhere, some at some other point, right? So while you're testing for some injection flows or cross-site scripting flaws, you should know that where your input is actually going, right? So you can quickly give a input as a access payload and go to that page where the input is reflecting and confirm if it's actually working out or not. Similarly, in second order SQL injection, you will insert a query somewhere and you will see the resultant query somewhere else. So you should know the application flow, and a lot of times you will be able to break that application flow to do some malicious task, right? So let's say the cart functionality in e-commerce application has multiple flows, that you can go to an items page and you can add something to cart. You can go to items page, add something to wish list, and then add something to cart. So same functionality but multiple flows, right? So make sure that you understand every possible flow of the application before trying to break out the application flow. It's really essential to understand the actual flow. A lot of security issues are dependent upon the application flow itself, that you will do some malicious thing at point A, but it will be reflected or working out at some point B or C or D, right? So once you know the flow, you can always go and check, okay, is it happening that something I'm doing at point A is affecting point B or maybe point C or D, right? So this is how you will try to break the application flow as well. Test every possible test case for each individual function. It's not like that you have tested, let's say, SQL injection or cross-site scripting at one input field, and then you will assume or start to assume that, okay, this is not vulnerable, so might be possible that some other fields are also not vulnerable. This is not always the case. Once you start testing, you have to test every possible field, every possible, even the single field out of 100 might be vulnerable to a particular attack. You never know, right? That how application is built, how the, because you are doing more of a gray box or black box pen test, you are not having much information about how the code is built. So if you have white box approach, if you're having a source code, then you can check quickly that, okay, everywhere the regex is properly implemented, filtration is properly implemented. Now I need not to again and again look for things. Don't miss any test case, even if it's complicated. Let's say you see there's an XML data going on and you are like, okay, I can do XSC, but it's complicated. Let it be, right? You will try some random payloads and then you will say that not working, so let me do something else, right? So this is not always going to help out. You have to try every single test case possible. Rely less on the automated tools like automated vulnerability scanners, which are available on the market. Although they might be good, but they will miss a lot of things which your manual pen testing approach will do. Proxy tools such as burp suite is a good to go, and there are a lot of extensions which you can use to assist your pen test. Again, they are not to find the security issues, but they are to assist you while you do pen test, right? If you are not sure at something, if you don't know a particular attack, but you suspect that there is a chance of having this vulnerability, go learn it to the extent that you are able to hack it next, right? So this is the manual pen testing approach. Quickly going through back at it. Understand the application flow and find out all the various possible flows for same feature. Once you know, try to break out those application flow and make sure that you test every possible test case, whether it's complicated or not. Less automation tools, proxy tools are good to go. If you're not sure how to attack something, how to exploit something, learn about it and hack it. Now, the next is the demo time, where we will be going and looking at the OWASP Juice Shop. Giving a quick introduction about OWASP Juice Shop. It's a vulnerable application which more of simulates a real life e-commerce type of application. There's a juice shop scenario, more of like you can go and purchase juice and things like that. We will quickly see, not from a vulnerable like web application perspective, but how, let's say this is an application which is given to you, and now how you can go and start testing this application. Let's say what are the various attack that as an attacker you will start to perform, how you will do directory brute forcing, how you will do various port scanning and other things, right? So without wasting the time, we will now directly dive deep into the demo where we will look at some of the vulnerabilities like cross-site scripting, SQL injection, business logic flaws, and I will try to cover as much as possible vulnerabilities and try to show that how I basically tend to find the security issues. So let me switch to the application and my Burp Suite window and some other tools. Just allow me for a moment. So now we have switched to our OWASP Zoo Shop instance, and as you can see that this is the application, right? So if you remember the application testing methodology that we have discussed, just navigate the application as a normal user to see that what are the various features. This is the first thing when I start a pen test or a bug bounty program or any target I do is to just quickly take a look. So this is my URL where I have actually do the testing. So this is my personal Heroku instance. So when you try, this might be down, and please do not try to load or bombard it if it's up. And this is not where you are supposed to do the actual testing. The first thing is like I quickly navigate. Okay, this is the page. There are various like pages to go through. Then if I click on any product, it says that there are some crown bonuses. This is the price. There are 0 reviews. So this tells me that there is a review functionality. They are having some images stored. So I will quickly check and see if how these images are stored. So they are storing some into the public asset path. Then I will there is a search functionality. Let's see how this works. So okay, this reflects something over the query parameter, but nothing in the UI. Oh, okay, this is some in the UI as well. Then there is some language changing options. There are multiple languages, and there are some, I guess, some marking over here. I'm not sure why these marking are there. Then in the side menu, there is a customer feedback option. Let's see what it is. Okay, you can basically provide a feedback over here. Then there is some about us page, which basically gives about who they are. Then let's say there is some GitHub account connected to them. I guess this redirect to the Juice Shops wiki. So this is not part of scope. Let's say the client told us that this is not the part of scope. Then this tells us that how the application is built upon. They are using AngularJS. They are using, I guess, SAS, which is a modern CSS writing framework. They are using JavaScript. They are using some Node.js, some database, I guess, as a Mongo or something. Then there's an option called photo wall. Okay, there is no result found on the photo wall as well. And then there is something called login functionality where you can go and log in. There is a forget password functionality. Remember me. And there's not yet a customer. This allows you to register. So let me just quickly register it. Since it's a demo application, I will just give any credential. And it registered me successfully, and there is no email verification because it's a demo application. So I will assume that this is not an issue over here. Let's quickly go and check. Okay, so this is how the application looks like from inside. There are various items. Okay, there are a lot of things actually. So when I click on item, I can add a review over here. Even if I haven't purchased it, I can give maximum 160 characters. After giving a review, let's say something, I can submit it. The review has been saved. The review will reflect in the real time. The review is posted on hirsch@hirsch.com. When somebody will thumbs up, you will see a thumbs up on the review. So this looks like an interesting application with a lot of features which we can basically abuse. So let's just quickly crawl through the various functionality one by one so that we will have a quick idea that what the application is all about. So once I do, an apple juice will be added to my cart. Hopefully they will ship me. And then there's a delete option, quantity increase option, total price. You will be able to check out. Since I have no address, I can add a new address over here. There are saved address, payment option, digital wallet, order history. Oh, there are private and security option as well, like class login IP, 2FA config, change password, request data export, recycle, track order. So this is, I guess, a lot of functionalities are there. There's also a feature for complain, and you can also take a deluxe membership from here. So these are the few features which were not available to me when I was not logged in. So if you can assume from an attacker devil mindset, there's a lot of things we can do here. So I just quickly navigated the application. Now let me just quickly take this URL Okay, I will just quickly take this URL and I will go to where my tools are installed, and I will then go to the tools directory. Then I will further go to my SSL checking script, although they are not using SSL because it's already showing me not secure, but let's assume they're using SSL, right? So this is how I check for SSL issues. Just provide this thing, although it's not using HTTPS, so obviously it will show me an error that is not what you meant probably. So just for an assumption, I'm giving HTTPS instead of HTTP. And since it's on Heroku and I haven't configured anything, it's just a quick setup. You will see that there are TLS version 1 and 1.1 supported, which are deprecated. There are some obsolete ciphers offered, and then you will see some more findings over here. So as soon as I see that there are some deprecated TLS protocols 1.1 and 1, right, this is a finding itself. It will go under TLS misconfiguration if you are doing a pen test. In bug bounty program, this is usually not accepted. So make sure one more thing, that whatever I'm showing you right over here is related to the pen test, not related to the bug bounty. Obviously, you can utilize this knowledge for bug bounty, but my goal is to tell you things from a pen tester's perspective. Okay, so once this scan is complete, you will see that there are some certain things that which are not offered. X powered by header says this is powered by Express framework. It is vulnerable to secure client initiated renegotiation. It can lead to a DOS attack. Okay, it's potentially vulnerable to breach attack. It's vulnerable to I guess beast. Then it's vulnerable to Lucky 13, and then you will see some random information. Overall grade is capped to B. And then since it's hosted online on a Heroku server, it will have multiple IPs and it will scan all those. So this is the first thing that I go and usually check for. So I usually automate this and then analyze the result later on, but let me just quickly show you side by side. Then I will go to my dir search. Then I will say dir search.py. And since if you remember, like in the recon video, we already discussed how to use dir search. I will just quickly use the syntax, not just going through the things completely. I will just again copy this URL. I will paste it over here. Then I will recursively do it 3 times, and then I will say threads. I want 200 threads and let it run. So while the time directory fuzzing is running, I will leave it on this side, and then I will start security headers.com, and then I will analyze for the security headers, the missing security headers. And as you can see, there are no permission policy, CSP and refer policy set. Okay, so these are the things which are something that I got. This site is using HTTP, not HTTPS. So since I already know that this site is using HTTP, obviously they might not use HSTS header. So just quickly to confirm, I will just simply say curl, then -ik to see the headers, and then this, and let it go. So as you can see, that server is Cowboy server, which is because of it's hosted on Heroku. It's, I guess Cowboy is it for Ruby. And then I don't see any strict transport security header over here. Let me just quickly verify if it's there. Okay, so this is the second finding, that there is no HSTS header implemented, but since it's already your HTTP, I assume that it's a misconfiguration itself, that they are not using secure protocol. But let's assume they're using HTTPS and then they are not having HSTS set. This is surely a different issue. Then you can obviously report this one in a pen test as a like a low security issue, but since the X content type and X frame options are set, that's okay. But if X XSS protection header is missing, you can report it. Okay, so these are a few things. Now let's go and check for the vulnerable JavaScript files. I use retire.js extension, and as you can see that jQuery 2.2.4 is being used here, which is vulnerable to the various CVs listed here. This is again a finding component with known vulnerabilities. Okay. Oh, and I solved an error. Uh, I guess there are some challenges in this application which it shows that you will solve this, you will solve that. So we will ignore this for a while because I don't want to check what are the various challenges over here. I just want to test as a normal user and cover as much as possible. Now, once this is done, I will check for the various services running using Vapalizer. So it's running jQuery 2.2.4, it's running Angular 8.1.3. I will check if there is known vulnerabilities for Angular or jQuery, and similarly for Hammer.js. So this is a quick overview of what we can look for. There is a well-known folder having secure.txt. Let's just quickly go and see what's inside it. I guess there's nothing as such inside this particular folder. Yeah. So let's see, there's something called API docs. Let's see if there is something interesting over API docs. Interesting. There is a directory called FTP. So this looks interesting, an FTP server or something which might expose something. So let me go to this FTP directory. And as you can see, the recursiveness, this will, like, once the first level scan is complete, it will start picking up API docs, then it will start pick up API folder, then it pick up assets folder, so on and so forth. Sounds like there is nothing which I can see over here. What if I just remove this hash and let me try to access this. Let it happen. Okay, great. So as you can see now, I can list some FTP files over here, and there are some interesting information, it seems. So this is a security issue that a sensitive directory called FTP is publicly accessible, and I can access some sensitive information. I am considering these are some, like, since there is some coupon backup files, there is some acquisitions information, there is some, I guess, other information. So assuming that these are the sensitive files, let me quickly open them in some new folder, new tab, sorry. Okay, so these are some malware uploaded to this, and these are put it in the quarantine folder. So this is for sure a security issue, that they are exposing some sensitive information to an unauthenticated user without any sort of authorization checks or authentication checks. So this reveals that Express 4.17.1 is being used, and this reveals some of the application stack traces, again the security issue. It says that only MD and PDF files are allowed. So there might be some file upload functionality where somebody might have tried to upload some file formats other than the MD and PDF extensions. We will look at it once we will enter into the application. This coupon file again shows the same error, I guess. So what I will do is I will basically remove this dot back from here, and let's see if I can access .md file. And there is some information about the acquisition. This is some random text or something. I'm not interested in this because this is more of from a vulnerable application perspective, because these are, like, they sometimes host things from a CTF style as well. So we are not interested in this thing right now. So let's see what else we found from our scanning. Sounds like there's a robots.txt folder. You should always check robots.txt because sometimes you will find some hidden paths from there. So this also told me that there is an FTP folder already there, right? So if I actually don't need even need to do a directory brute force if I have checked this first, right? So next I have a video folder over here. Let me just quickly check what it has. And there is some video. Oh, let me see what this video is about. So again, this oh, there's a promo video of this. So we will ignore this. Okay, so this is something that we have already looked at. Let me quickly go back to the main application. The next thing is to look at the page source to see if there is something juicy or something sensitive. Look at the JavaScript files if there is something sensitive from an unauthenticated user's perspective first. So now I will quickly go and see view page source. There is not like nothing interesting or nothing much in terms of the page source. There are some normal information. It links me to YouTube page, and then there are some JavaScript files. Let me quickly open each of them one by one to see what they are all about. So polyfill and vendor.js are something like not sensitive in nature by default. As you can see, there is nothing interesting as of now. I'll quickly close it. This is something not our interest. This is a main ES 2015.js. The main JS file might sometimes have some interesting information. So what we will do is we will look for, say, username. We'll look for password. We'll look for API equals to API colon. Look for secret equals to. We'll look for @ some email alias, let's say gmail.com. So these are some of the ways where you can look for hard-coded information. Let's say I want to find for Google API key. I will search for AIZA. But since there is nothing, I will leave it as it is. So for now, I'm just closing the JavaScript files, just giving an idea that how you can go and navigate and search. So again, it says that you have solved a challenge. So I'm just again ignoring this banner. So let me just quickly go to inspect and just let me deattach this. Now in the sources, you can use this master search feature to search for the strings. Let's say I want to search for secret. So now the two files contain the secret word, right? Now let me open this main.es, this ES file, and there should be an option to prettify this JS. I'm not sure where this option is. There should be. Okay, let me open some different file then. So these are some static resources. This should show me the prettified version, but I'm not sure why it's not showing. Okay, for a while we will just go and quickly see if we can find something from here, like username. This is another way where you can go and check for the secrets. I usually open this into either prettified mode, or I will use simply into this browser console that we just saw. Okay, so this is something more of from an unauthenticated user's perspective. The next thing is, like, we already have a login page. Okay, we already have this login page. So my goal is to check for the login based vulnerability, because this is the entry point. Now this is the email and this is the password field. This is the forget password, remember me, and login, and not a customer yet. So first of all, I will go and check. I will create an account over here. Now from this point onwards, I will turn on my proxy. I will go to my burp suite. I will first show you that how I set up the burp suite. So you will see there are some WebSocket being used into this application. So for now, I'm ignoring them. If you don't want to capture the WebSockets, you can go to proxy options and just disable them. Now, when you will go proxy intercept is on, you will refresh this page. Let's go to some other page. Let me see why this proxy is not capturing the information. Let's say test.com and then say test. Okay, this is working fine. I will say intercept is off. And when I will go to the target tab, you will see there are some other things as well. And whenever I will turn on the proxy, I will see that there are some other things like this Google APIs, and these are captured, and this sometimes irritates at least me. So what I will do is basically, once I have a single URL, or let's say set of URLs, let's say hirakuapp.com, and anything which is a subdomain of this is a part of scope. So what I will do is I will go to scope, I will use advanced scope control. Click on add app.com. I will simply use a regex. This regex does nothing but just will mention that every subdomain which is ending herokuapp.com will be part of scope. We'll just click on OK and click on yes. Go to sitemap, click on show only in scope items, and boom, everything out of the scope is now gone. But still you will see the traffic from other sources. Let me refresh this and show you. So if you will open and do anything, you will still see the results from Google and other domains. So now to reduce this noise as well, you have to go to this option, and under this intercept client request, you have to turn on the end URL is in target scope, so that it will only capture the request from the URLs which are in the target scope. Now I will go to proxy, turn off my intercept, and I will now start navigating the application so that my target tab is being populated. So as you can see, the unencrypted communication is shown because it's a vulnerability, because they are not using HTTPS, they are using only HTTP. Now let me go to account, click on login, not yet a customer. Now let me see if I can just put 123 as an email, but this says that email address is not valid. That's a good thing. So I will create an account as say test@test.com. I will now check for a single digit password, but it says that password must be 5 to 20 characters long. But again, let me see if it accepts. Again, I will give one digit security answer, 1 2 3 4 5. But still, if you see that they allow a weak password, so in a pen testing engagement, this can be considered as a security issue depending upon your client. But in a bug bounty, they only consider if you are able to put only single digit of password. Now, sometimes what happened that due to some semantic mistakes, that I entered a password over here, but let's say I entered 6 over here, the password do not match, right? So I went ahead and I said 6 and 7 over 6 over here. Now 6 over here, the password match, but I removed this from here. Right now there is 1 2 3 4 5, but there is 1 2 3 4 5 6, but if you see, there is no error actually, right? So let me click on register. That is off. Once again, okay, the registration was successful. It was taking some time. So repetitive registration, follow the dry principle while registering a user. Some challenges completed. I am not looking at those challenges as of now. So remember, this is a demo test application meant to be for learning purpose. So there will be a lot of things, a lot of challenges which you will see, like challenge completed. So this is not our game. Now let's say what we can do next from here. Now what I will go is I can see that there is this account. Let me register a valid user account, harsh@harsh.com, password harsh, some security question, and say harsh. And it's taking a little time, I guess. Let me just try once disabling the proxy. It says email must be unique because I have used harsh@harsh.com. So this is again an issue that they are exposing the username. They're exposing the valid user enumeration. So valid user enumeration can be done through user registration page. In pen testing, it can be reported. Now, one more thing that I want to show you here is you can go to proxy options and then you can say unhide hidden form fields and prominently hide them. This sometimes will give you some hidden form fields and can also lead you to some nice security issues. Let me see if there is any hidden form field. So for now, there is no hidden form field, so that's a good thing. So now let me register as a harsh@harsh.com, password harsh, some security question, and you can see that this cannot be changed later. So as an attacker, I will try to change this later, right? And let's say harsh. I will quickly say register and wait for it. While it registers my account, this application is working a little slow than expected, maybe because of the proxies on. Check. Just turn on this task execution for a while. Refresh this page. Okay, seems to be some issue with this particular proxy setup right now, but let me just quickly go to account and log in because I already have an account. So the next thing is I will try log in with some random password. Sometimes application just allow you to log in with the random passwords. I have seen this in previous pen test where you can do this. Let me turn on the proxy. This same. This application is loading a little while, taking a while to load, so we will be a little patient for it. It works. I will close the proxy for a time being because I guess this is causing some trouble over here. Again, paste it and see if I can do something. Let it load. While it's getting loaded, we will just quickly check if we found something else in our dirt search, but seems like nothing interesting as of now. It's just doing checking for the various endpoints. Nothing so far. Okay. So the next thing that I will check over here is go to this forget password functionality. But for some reason, I guess I can do that. So I will say harsh@harsh.com. And then the security question is something which I don't know. And due to some reason, I am not able to select those fields. There's still some issue with loading the application, it seems. Go back to the login page, not a customer yet. Harsh harsh.com, harsh, and then let's say there is some issue with this application as of now. It's not responding. It should, the way it should. try harshad@harshwan.com. Sometimes when you do pen test, you will often encounter such scenarios where you will see that a lot of components might not be working as the way they should, right? So there are multiple solutions to this. The best way is to approach the client and see if there is actually some trouble. Meanwhile, I have one more instance up luckily, so I will just let it go and I will just now look at the another instance. So at this particular instance, let me just quickly check some other things like let me just use the search functionality, search something. Okay, input is reflected. The first thing I will test over here is for the HTML injection. Seems like it's working because usually you see the text over here, but now to confirm I will just add an HR tag and let's see. Okay, the horizontal line is injected. Now the next goal is to inject in cross-site scripting. Script alert one is a simple payload that I will just put over here. Sorry for the bad. Seems like it's not getting executed for some reason. The next thing I will try for svg/onload equals to alert one. Something is happening, but no pop-up box. So it might be possible that the alert boxes are like sanitized. So I will say confirm one. No confirm box again. The next thing that I'm going to try is image tag. I'm using some event handlers with the image tag, and as expected, I can now have an XSS. So this is the simple way that how I check for the various payloads. You can fuzz it, you can use polyglots. That's totally up to your preference. Now, just showing that alert one always is not impactful. So for the best possible scenario, since I am not authenticated, I will use document.domain. Click over here and there we go. This is a reflected XSS over here. Now let's see what else I can do over here. I will say I will try to host an iframe. Sars equals to X. JavaScript alert one. So I can host a JavaScript. I can basically host something over here, but this actually loads the iframe itself. So let me just quickly change payload to XXS. I don't see anything sensitive over here. So already we have found the cross-site scripting. Now let me again go back. Let's go to this customer feedback option. It says author as anonymous and you can add some comments. Let me say I want to say test for something here. Result is 1 minus 8 minus 3 is minus 10. I'm bad at maths. Just let it rate. Thank you for your feedback. So this feedback gets submitted over somewhere. So this is some endpoint where you can check for the blind accesses. We'll look at it later on. Then there is something, some link given over here. Let's just quickly go to this link. Let me just change it to English. And again, this is more of because of being an application. So this was giving me this legal.md path so that I can again traverse back and access the FTP directory, which we already did. Okay, so then let me go to this photo wall page. There is nothing. Let me see view page source. And there is actually nothing, I guess, which should be of my interest. There is a YouTube video link. Let me quickly go and check what's there. There is some link to a video. I guess that might be some CTF related video where there will be something. They will have some, like, let me go to this thing. So basically this is more of a CTF style over here. So this is something I am not interested in, because this is we don't see usually when we do a pen test, right? So let me go to here, reviews. As you can see that as an unauthorized user, I cannot post a review, or I cannot do any review thing here. Now we will go back to account, click on login. Let's test for SQL injection over here. This is something that I am checking for the authentication bypass. So again, there is some challenge which is solved. So there is something happening. Let me go to inspect. And let me again click on login. And let me search for, let me open the page source instead. View page source. I don't see any error as such in the page source. So I guess inspect will help me understand what is happening over here right now. So this is the division. I will just quickly see why this error is coming up. This object error. This is the login form. Sometimes you will get a lot of information by looking at the inspect element, like why something is happening, if there is some description over here. So I see that there is nothing interesting as of now. Is this email field? So there is nothing interesting as of now. I will let it be. Let's open this. Let me try a simple SQL injection. Let's say or 1 equals to 1 minus minus plus and any password. And luckily we logged into the admin user's account. This is super awesome. So this application is vulnerable to a simple SQL injection. I'll again quickly show you what I was able to do. I logged out of the application. I went to this login page. First tried for injecting a single quote. You can try for a double quote. So depending upon the various database, you will see different response. I said or 1 equals to 1, which is a true condition, and then I commented the rest of the query so that the password is not validated. Whatever you give in the password doesn't matter at all. And I'm logged in as an admin user. And this is awesome. So now since I am logged in as an admin user, there might be some interesting functionalities. Let me see. As you can see, there are functionalities like deluxe membership, photo wall, complaint, as we see on a normal user. Apart from that, I don't see anything else than that. Okay, so I can upload a file, I can set a username, I can give a URL over here. So there are a lot of things basically which I can do from here. So I will look at it at a while. I just will set a username as a Hirsch. And the username is set. For file upload, I will just quickly go. I will go to tools, go to payloads. Let's upload in secure files. I will upload a file for cross-site scripting first. Let's see where is cross-site scripting. I will upload an SVG file. Let's say upload a picture. And as you see that there is some error that you cannot upload an application XML files, which is something we have to bypass maybe. So it checks for the content type, because as you see that it tells me that you cannot upload a SVG XSS file. So it's probably checking for the content type. So let me upload some different file formats. I will upload this JPEG file. Now I will open this image in new tab, but the payload is not getting executed. So that's okay. Since this is upload directory, and I tried to access the upload directory, but again I cannot access it. So that sounds okay. The next thing that I can check here is to upload some file with metadata. Let me upload in secure files. Let's upload an ICAR file, but I don't think so they will allow this. MIME type is undefined. So definitely they are checking things based upon the MIME type. So we will refire burp suit in a while so that our application won't break. First, we will look for other things. So definitely they are doing something interesting over here. They are kind of doing some MIME type validation on the file upload. So we will check it. Also, as you can see that you cannot change the email once it's set. So we will also try to change the email once we will fire up the burp suit again. Let me check what all functionalities are there which I can go and potentially look for vulnerabilities. There are some saved orders and some privacy security, and there are some change password functionality. So this is again something, since I don't know the password currently, I'm not opting to change the password, but I will just say randomly some test, and then I will say test1 and test1. Let's see if I can change the password. Seems like the password is changed. Let me just, let's say test1, then the password test. I'm not sure if the password is changed or not, and the best way is to log in with admin at their juice-sh.op and password test. Admin at the rate juice.sh-op and password being test. Invalid email or password. So I already have SQL injection. I don't need a password for the admin user. I logged in. I typed the email wrong, I guess. So we'll just again attempt admin at the rate juice.sh.op test. Again, invalid email or password. So the password was not changed. Forget password. I will say okay. Admin at the rate juice-sh.op 123. Wrong answer to the security question because I don't know the security question yet, so I will attempt it again after a while. For now, let's just SQL our way in. Okay, so this is something that we have already done. We have done accesses. We have done like we checked if we can basically perform an authentication bypass. We look for sensitive data exposures. We looked for the various things like how we check for TLS misconfiguration, security headers, and other things. Now let's just look at some other things as well. So as you see that there are only 3 melons left. So let me see if I can add more than that to my cart. Add to basket, add to basket, add to basket. There is some issue with the melon. I can only add 3 melons, right? This is something, the validation that they are putting on the client side, but I'm not sure if they are putting the same validation on the server side. So what I will do next is I will again fire on my burp suit, and we will see in a while that how we can check for other security issues as well. So now we will again look into other things. So I will go to this customer feedback, and currently I'm logged in, so I will just quickly log out. I will just go to this customer feedback section again. I will just provide any comment. Let's say I want to provide this comment is by unauthenticated user, and in this result I will just say 12. And as you can see that without selecting the rating I cannot click on submit. So let me just quickly go and let's say inspect element over this submit button. Just quickly go and say inspect and find out this submit button somewhere over here. This is the submit button, it seems. Okay, so this is the submit button. And there should be something disabled equals to true. So I will just quickly say disabled equals to false. And as you can see, it's still not open. Okay, let me just quickly, I will just say enabled equals to true. And as you can see now that this button is enabled, so I will just quickly go and submit. And as you can see that your feedback is submitted, and I also got scored that you successfully solved a challenge, 0 stars. So now always make sure that whenever certain functionalities such as like a particular field is required, otherwise you cannot submit things. So check for client side validations. There is another way that you can select any star, click on submit, and then capture the request with burp suit, and then do the same thing like this. Let's say comment, let's say anything, just say 1823. Then just quickly turn on the burp suit over here, go to here, intercept is on, and click on submit. Yes, this is not properly on. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So let's say anything test. This is 811. Then let's intercept this. Now what I will do is basically I will simply just remove this rating, and this capture is not 3. Okay. Then we'll simply just do response. And right now it's giving me internal server error. And as you can see that this is also revealing some error message. As a pen testing, you can also report this issue as stack trace revealing the internal server or internal paths and all. So this is also a reportable issue in pen testing specifically. Although the impact is very low, but yeah, you can report it. So again, I will go 1811. Over here is this. Now I'll say rating equals to 0. And this time you can see that we got a success over here. So I will send this to repeater again, and then I can intrude this as many times as I want, because it's always success, because this captcha ID is something static. Like for every captcha there's a fixed response. Let's say if I will change this captcha ID to 1, then the response might be wrong, because this is wrong. So they are hard coded. So these are some of the ways that you should always check for. Now I can intrude this, and every time the rating will go to 0, the average rating will come down, right? Now let's see some more things over here. Like I can just also there is an option called user ID. So let's see if I can just enter a user ID field arbitrary over here. I will just inject user ID, and I will give some user ID, say 1. Let's accept the input. And if you can see that it actually accepts this user ID as an input, let me give a user ID as a string, like let's say anything string. And you can see that this do not accept, and also that force feedback, post some feedback, some other user's name. So basically you can say that I was able to perform a parameter pollution attack over here, that some user ID which was not actually a part of request, I can inject it in as a part of request by looking at the response. So this is this one thing is again an interesting thing that you can go and check. You can do anything like you can check for how many IDs are there. So you can see that there is a SQL error, SQLite constant foreign key constraint failed. So there are high chances that this field might be vulnerable to SQL injection, right? Now when I say this some random, I get some JSON parse error over here, as you can see here. So whenever I see that there is some SQLite error or something like that, so the next approach, so let's just again quickly confirm what error we get. Again, foreign key constraint failed. So what I will do is I will just quickly copy this up. I will go here on my VPS. We create a file called let's say SQL map underscore let's say just juice shop. Okay, juice shop, nano juice. Then I will simply paste it up, and the field which was actually vulnerable or which was looking vulnerable, I will just say star to it, so that SQL map can get to know that okay, which field to test for. I will run a simple SQL map command over here, SQL map -r, then say juice, and that's it. And then it will say that there is a custom injection marker star found in the post body. Do you want to process it? I will say yes, I want to process it. Then the JSON data found, you want to process it? Again, yes. And it will just go through the various databases, and just again say yes. And it says that the parameter might not be injectable. There are some errors. So you can also like add some temper scripts. You can change the random agent. So I will just say random agent. Although I'm not sure if this particular field is vulnerable or not, but I'm just trying some various ways. to see if actually it's vulnerable or not. So this is the one attempt that you can try, but so that our application currently do not get impacted by any way, I will just do this last attempt. Otherwise, we will see this thing in next sections. So this is how you can use a post request method for the SQL injection. Simply save it in a file, use R flag and give the file name and use the flags that you want to use. Okay, so this was again an interesting thing that we were able to post a 0-star rating, which is a business logic issue because you are not supposed to post a 0-star rating, right? This is something that you can check into most of the e-commerce or any application which has this review functionality, right? Now the next thing is that there is also this particular thing where I can be some other author. Now let's see if there is a particular way where I can go and verify it. So if I go over here, there should be some way to verify this. So yeah, if you will see, there are some reviews over here. Let's see if my reviews are getting reflected over there or not. This comment is by unauthenticated user. You can see that the review over here is null, which is something that I did. That then again the test user did some this is something that we did, this test review, and as you can see that there are null, and so these are a few things that we were able to successfully inject, so that this tells us that the attack was successful. Now the next thing that we are going to look at is the cookies. Let's see how cookies work for this particular application. So when you go right click inspect, it opens up the dev tools. These are the really useful tools. You can see all the various requests being happening over the time when you do some. Let's just quickly do this. So you will see all the files getting loaded and everything. You can select which file you specifically want to see. Let's say you want to see the JS file or you want to see all the files. You can just use the filters. Now let's go to this application tab. So these are the cookies. These two cookies are using the HTTP only flag, but the rest of the cookies are not using any flag, and the secure flag is missing for all. This is again a security issue, that at least you can report that the secure flag is missing. So an attacker can steal the cookies over an unencrypted channel, and since the application is not using HTTPS or TLS protocols, this is a security issue again. Okay. So now let's check for other web SQL. There is nothing. IndexedDB, there is nothing. Let's go to session storage. There is again nothing. Go to local storage. There is again nothing. So I guess since we are not authenticated, these fields are not populated yet. Okay. So let me now just quickly go and again go to inspect sources, and this main.js file is something which is interesting because this seems to be a main JavaScript file as we discussed earlier. So now let's see if we can find something. Often the JavaScript files also contain some interesting paths. So what I will do next is I will search for the string paths. What's the path? Let's see if I can. Okay, that's interesting, right? If you see over here, there are certain paths like administration, accounting, about. There's address select, address edit, address ID. So these are the paths. Sometimes you will not find the paths directly, but these are something which are present in the application. So first of all, these paths, if are hardcoded in the application, you should make sure that these are not accessible to an unauthenticated user. For now, this administration functionality looks interesting to me. I'll just quickly copy this up. We'll go over here and just say administration. And as you can see that we are not allowed to access this page, but error message, is it reflecting something? Let's check for it. Okay, so this error message was supposed to reflect something. So always check if something in the URL is exactly same being reflected here and just test for the various issues. So the first thing I will check over here is to just say h1 test. This is how we start testing for the cross-site scripting by first of all using simple scripting tags and then go about this. Right now it's not injecting anything, but still it's an interesting attack vector, potential attack vector for us. So we will try some different payloads. So as you can see that this might be encoding some of the characters, and it might not reflect something interesting. So yeah, always make sure that you are trying everything out there. So in the next section, we will look at some other stuff. We will look at the how we can basically abuse the functionalities which are present after the login. So I will just quickly switch over to my burp suite again, and will show you some of the quick hacks that you should keep in mind while you are doing a pen test. So once we will come back over here. Now let's quickly log in as a user account. The first thing is, since we already see there is a SQL injection vulnerability, so what I will do is I will just first quickly create an account. Let's me quickly create an account. The account is completed successfully. Let's log in. Now what I will do is I will just quickly pull off incognito mode over here, and I will now try to access the unauthenticated functionality of authenticated user as an unauthenticated user to check if there is any direct request vulnerability. A lot of time the applications are vulnerable to direct requests, and this is what I am going to check right over here. So if you see that there are right now only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 URLs, and there are a bunch of URLs. So the first thing is I will go to this track order, and then I will just quickly go over here and then just paste over here and see if I can access this track order thing or not. And as you can see that as an unauthenticated user also, I can track anything. Right now I will just provide any random ID, and then it will tell me whatever things are there, right? So this is something the normal user is not having access to, but I am still, being a normal unauthenticated user, I can access. And since it's not that much sophisticated, it's easy to guess a person can go and perform a direct request attack out there, right? So since there is also an ID parameter, this seems an interesting parameter to me. What I will do next is I will again go to SQL map. This time, since it's a GET request, there is no cookies required. I will say -u, and then I will say star over here, and it says that no parameter found for testing for provided data. What I will do is I will just say this. Then what I will do is, again, there is some, okay, just remove this particular hash. And this time you should be able to run the SQL map successfully, and let's see if we get something interesting from there. Let it run. It will just ask us some specific questions, time, and it still says that it's not injectable, but we will check this later on as well once manually. So now again, going back to our main goal, let's say if I can access this recycle bin over here. As you can see, I can still access all the resources from an unauthenticated attacker, which are actually accessible to the authenticated user. Although right now I'm not sure if I can carry out all the functionalities, but you will see that I can still do some specific things, but I won't be able to add an address, as it says that please log in to view this page. So there are some pages which are protected, but some others which are not. Now let me see if complaint feature is accessible to me or not. I will just go here and say complaint, and as you can see that this complaint feature is accessible to an unauthenticated user, and as an unauthenticated user I can upload a file. This is something really interesting, and this is something that you will not see over here. So this is an interesting attack vector that an unauthenticated user can perform the file upload, and if it's successful, it should be a pre-escalation issue, right? So let me just quickly say a message test and click on submit. And let's see if I can submit something successfully. I need to upload a file. So this usually uploads a particular in the PDF format. So let me quickly pull up a PDF file. .pdf. We'll just pull up a PDF file, image magic md exec PDF, any random PDF file. Then click on submit. I'm not sure if it's submitted actually. It says no file chosen. Let's go back again. Let's say .pdf. Just again some bit, and it's not taking them. Let's try from this side if it works. Yes. And again, this side as well, this is something being generated, but from this side it's not getting generated. So what we will do next is, once we have a file upload functionality, let's check for some of the file upload test cases. So I will just put burp one side, and then we'll upload some of the files while capturing the request with the burp proxy. I will upload a file, say any random thing. We'll click on some bit. As you can see that this is not RK. Okay, this is the file which I am interested in right now. So this is a PDF file having some image magic, this command which basically do a curl to the attacker.com and generate some whoami into the base64 script. And this is it. The first thing I will go and check is send it to the repeater, do intercept response to this request, and see what is the response is like. So it simply says that there is no content, it just process the file, that's it, right? So let's just, okay, so this is all it does right now. So no content again. So what I will be doing next is I will check if I can basically do // and go a directory back. Again, the file is successfully showing this 204 no content, but there is no way that right now I can see if the file is actually uploaded or not, and I'm not sure if there's any directory where I can go and check the file. So what I will do again is, I will go and try to upload a new file. I will say intercept on any random message. I will then go and say // do intercept response to this request. Again, no content, but let's wait. Let's see if there's any other request being made. So you will see that in the complaint, there is something called user ID and a message which is being thrown. So let me just quickly send it to the repeater. And also what I will do is I will change this user ID to, let's say, 10. Let's see if I can do an IDOR over here, and if I am able to simply post a complaint as another user. And as you see, the successfully created, this is successfully created from some other user, and the user ID now here is 10, and the ID of this particular complaint is now 4, and there is no file uploaded. Reason being because I guess that the file is actually moved to some other origin, because I said this //4, right? And the location of this particular API is complaint/4. So I guess I can also go and access this complaint using this particular API. So customer support will get in touch with you soon. Your reference is 4. So what I will do next is I will just copy this up URL, paste it over here, and since the value was 4, I will just quickly say 4, and it says that unauthorized no authorization header was found. So next thing I will do here is I will just simply send it to another repeater window. Since there is an authorization bearer over here, I will simply change the request method to get and say 4 over here, and let's see if I can access it. So if you see that right now, this gives me some unauthorized user error. Now let me change this to 3 and see if I can access the complaint. Again, there is some error, so this is, I guess, not intended way that I can access it. Let me quickly go back to our this user ID. The complaint is generated, file is null, and in this case of file upload, there is nothing as such. Now again, let's quickly go back, do another file upload. Some bit. This is the file. This time I'm not changing the file name or anything over here. The goal is to see if that now I can actually see the file path or not. And again, this time the file is also null, so probably this is not an issue that is being happening over here. But I can successfully post a complaint as some other user, and I guess there might be some other way where I can access if I can see the complaints. We will check in a while if there is any such option in the API itself.
So let's quickly move on to the next thing. Let's see if there is any option as such in the application. It seems there is no option as well. Okay, so now let's do one more thing that we can do over here is administrative. This is the point where we were trying to navigate when we were not authenticated, but right now if you can see, if I try to authenticate this particular point, I might be able to access it. Let me just quickly, administration is the exact point. This administration point, and still there is some unauthorized user error as I was able to see before. So what I will do is I will quickly log it out and then go to account, click on login. Using our SQL injection, we will log into admin account. Replace this search to administration. And I should be successfully able to access this admin UI. As you can see, I can access this particular admin UI. Let me refresh it. And you can also see that there are some multiple customer feedbacks which I can delete. Right. So what I will do is, I again solved some challenge. So this application shows whenever you solve a challenge. So this is something we are not interested in. We are more of doing a penetration test over here. So there are a lot of users which you can list and see. There are some customer feedback tables. So I guess these are dynamically handled by some SQL database, and this is where we can also try to do SQL injection. But what we will do is, now we will try to delete some of the things. So delete API feedbacks 1. So what I will do is I will send it to the repeater, but I will delete this thing from the normal user session, which was here. I will go and say delete. Right now the feedback number 1 is deleted, but let's see if I can delete the feedback number 2 using the normal user session. And it's also a success. And let's see if this thing is deleted. Let me just delete some more. It's again a success. Let it load. And you can see that there are some feedback which are deleted. So let me just quickly also delete this feedback again. Let's say 4, let's say 5, let's say 6. 65 is something which is not found. Let's 6, let's 7. And right now there are like some, and let's see if they are deleted or not. And as you can see that those comments are deleted, and this is a simple priv escalation that using some other users, a non-admin users authorization token, I am able to basically delete the admin users, the functionality which an admin user can basically do, right? So this is again a security issue, a simple priv escalation. But again, in this case, you will need to have access to this endpoint, and this is not a big like this is not encrypted or having any kind of non-guessable thing. You can easily guess it, and the keys or the feedback IDs are also like in the numerical sequence form. So this is again a priv escalation issue. Now let's quickly go and see what are there. So this is where you can go and see the users. So let's see what are the other functionality of this particular user. I guess these are the basic functionality apart from the normal functionalities are there. So let me then go to some other features, like let's say go to this profile, user's profile. Then let's say in this particular URL, let me go and say verb collaborator URL over here, generator collaborator. Now, why I am giving a gravatar URL? The gravatar URL should be like they should use a whitelist on this gravatar, because the gravatar should be like only a single URL, https www.gravatar.com/avatar and avatar ID. So they should not accept any arbitrary URL. So let me just quickly click on this and click on link gravatar. And as you can see that they tried to fetch something. Let me just quickly poll it. And as you can see that I received an HTTP interaction, and this is a simple indication that this might be vulnerable to server-side request forgery attack. We will further explore this attack, but for a while, this is something that you can do. Now, let me just name the admin as a test and go here and go to proxy intercept on, click on set username. As you can see that their username is test. What I will do is I will also go to this email. I will just first of all send this to repeater. Go to this repeater, click on send, and see if there is anything which tells me that what is the email. But since seems like there is a redirection, and let me just quickly verify it, validate it. If there is something which tells me that there is an email input button, but nothing again. So what I will do is I will guess a blind parameter, as in like I will just simply go and add email equals to hbotra22@gmail.com and username equals to test. And let's see if this successfully updates my email as well. If it does, this would be more of a client-side validation bypass issue, but since it doesn't actually do anything over here, so what I will do is I will also try, instead of putting email, I will just try to put mail. Just follow redirection, refresh this page. And again, nothing happened. So more of this is not a vulnerable field. Last try would be to actually remove this username field and only keep the email field. Let's see if this works out. Follow redirection. So this is actually something which might not work out. The image size should be less than 1 KB. I am just uploading any GIF file, and as you can see that the MIME type is undefined. So what I will do is I will click on choose file. I will capture this request, and I will go to this payload all things master directory. You can go online and find it out. Then XSS injection. Go to files, upload SVG file, click on upload picture, and in this MIME type, simply say image JPEG. Send this to repeater. Let's see if this actually bypass the restriction and we are able to upload something interesting or not. So it says unsupported media type application XML. So this is again something which is filtering out the application type as well. So now we know that the application filters multiple things. One is the MIME type. Second one is the application type. Okay. So what we will do is next, we'll simply turn on intercept, go back, intercept off, click on choose a file. I will just simply take any JPG file, let's say this one, intercept on, upload this PNG file, upload picture. We'll send it to the repeater so that I know that what is the content type this time. The content type is image PNG. And as you can see, this time this thing is accepted, and this is uploaded successfully. So what I will do this time again is we'll go to burp suite, we'll upload an SVG file, we'll upload a picture, we'll change this to image PNG, and let's say where else the XML thing is there. So I will simply go to this repeater tab, and the content type I will just take this accept. This is the same thing, I guess. There should be no issue at all. Just out of this. Yeah, looks good. The content type is also same. This should upload. Let's see what's the repeater. So again, it says unsupported media type. So I guess they are also validating this file name. So what I will do is I will do this simply dot png dot svg, send this to repeater, and let's say if this is accepted. Again, this is unsupported media type. So let's say svg.png, send this to repeater. Again, this says unsupported media type. So I guess this is also validating this XML. I will just simply remove it. And let's see if the application accepts. There can be a multiple ways to test this functionality, but this is something that we check for double extension attack, we check for triple extension attack, and there are a lot of things which you can actually go and check. Not everything is we can do right over in a single video, but there are a lot of things which you can go and check. Again, when we will move towards the end of the series, I will also look at the walkthrough, and we will follow the walkthrough of the OAS Juice Shop and see some of the attacks, that how they are implemented specifically to this particular application, right? So this is something we will also be looking at. Let it load. I guess this, there are some results, service unavailable. So there it seems like there is some kind of denial of service or something happened due to some issue. The application says that application error. It might be possible that my Heroku instance had some issues. Now I will go back. Go to this account. Let's see what's inside the track orders functionality. They are actually accepting some of the ID and reflecting it. So again, check for reflected accesses. Image src equals to x on mouse over equals to 1. Let's see. So there is no image yet. Okay, there is an image, and as soon as I over the mouse, this image icon, so this is the event handler on mouse over. So as soon as I over my, like just hover my mouse over it, it just pops up the payload. So you can always try for multiple access vector. So this is one of the interesting access payload which I often use. I like mostly the image tag and the audio video tags. This is something which gives me a lot of useful information. So now what we will do is we will also now register as a new user. Let's see that what we can do. Okay, so let's do something over here interesting. Let's register some user, and let's see if we can escalate privileges while registering a user. Not yet a customer. Email Hirsch at that Hirsch. Capture the request with burp suit, and you can see that this is the email password, security question, ID, and everything. Now I will send this to repeater, and we'll see if there is any role parameter. If you see, there is a role parameter called customer, right? And they actually accept SVG, but I'm not sure why they were not accepting my SVG. What I will do is I will simply change email over here, and I will add another field, again a parameter pollution attempt, and another field called role, and I will say role equals to let me see how they defined it. Okay, they defined in a string format, and I will go over here and say admin, and let's again send this request to repeat for our tracking purpose. Oops, I missed it, I guess. So what I will do is I will again change an email to 1 2 and just send it. I guess they are not okay. So as you see that now the role is admin. Now I will log in with this user Harsh at harsh12.harsh, and let's see if I can actually be an admin user harsh11.harsh12.harsh and password harsh. And now to verify, we will just navigate to this administration functionality. And as you can see, this is a really simple escalation, and this is always a good idea to make sure that you always check the parameter which are available in the response but are not reflected in the request, and then try to add those parameters into the request and see if you can actually do something interesting, right? And as you can see that now I'm an admin user, I can do everything an admin can do, and this is totally a critical issue because I don't need anything, I don't need any user interaction. I just need to create an account, see what are the response parameters, add a response parameter to the request, and that's all I have to do. So now we will look at some more interesting attacks as we go.
So far we have looked at various security issues, from SQL injection to authentication bypass, client-side validation bypass, how we were able to receive a callback connection, like at least perform a kind of server-side request forgery attack. So we kind of looked at a lot of security issues. Now we will continue our hunt for more security issues, because this is a very big application, and we will obviously find a lot of security issues, because it's a deliberately create a web application which has a lot of security issues itself. So let me just look at this particular function. It says that this juice shop artwork has only one item left. So what if we can order more items? This is more of a business logic issue. Let's see. I will just add one to basket. I will go to the basket. Okay, I am not logged in currently, so let me just quickly go and I guess refresh this up. Let me log out first. Login. Harsh@harsh.com. Password is harsh. This. I don't want to use my superpowers of SQL injection over here, but let's use that. Now, since we logged in, let's quickly add one item to basket. Added. I'm not seeing the product in basket, although. Okay, there we go. So this, if you see, I cannot add multiple products because it will see that we are out of scope. Sorry for the inconvenience. So what I will do is I will just quickly delete all these items. I don't want to have a look at them right now. I don't want egg fruit juice. I don't want orange juice. Looks like I removed something else. Let me quickly clear the card. The card is empty. Now let me go back to the juice shop. Quickly, let me add this juice shop artwork. Add it. Go to the basket. Now, if you see that I have only one item added, if I add two items over here, it will say that sorry, we are out of stroke and sorry for the inconvenience. So what I will do next is I will go turn on my work proxy, make sure that the proxy is on. I will click on checkout. Okay, there I have to add an address actually. Let me first quickly add an address which is already there. Let's quickly select an address again, intercept on, click on continue. So this is the address too. I will just quickly send this to the repeater because this seems interesting for me. I will then check for one-way delivery option, click on continue. Then again, there are deliveries, I guess 1, 2, 3, there are multiple options. Wallets, there I can see the wallet. There are some card numbers already there. I will just quickly select any card and click on continue. Addresses are here, basket is there, then the cards. This is again looks interesting point for IDORs. Just quickly users, who am I? Okay, so this is something which is like my final cart looks like. I will now just click on this place your order and pay. So there is coupon data in base64 encoded. So I will just quickly go send this to decoder. Decode as base64 and there is no coupon data, so it's just showing me null. This is the payment ID, this is the address ID, and the delivery method. Again, we'll keep this to the repeater for later use. And this is where I can go and track the orders. As you can see that this is how this, on a successful completion of the payment, you will see something like this. Now let's just get back to those things and let's just use Bob for a while. As you can see, remember that for admin, I just had only one address. So what if I change this address ID from 2 to 1? Malicious activity detected, and it just said that, hey, you cannot access it at all. Now let me just go and say with address 3. Again, some malicious activity detected. Let's say for address 4. Again, some malicious activity detected, and it is not allowing me actually to look at the different addresses existing in the system. Looks okay. Let me see if I can get a card. I can see the card information, complete card information. Let me change the card ID and see. Again, malicious activity. Let me again change it to 3 and see if, okay, this is again an admin card, so I can access it. Again, malicious activity, so that's okay. This basket 1 is the current order confirmation code. Let me quickly check the another one, and this is where I can go and track the order, right? So most of the APIs are working, looking like they are working fine. Next thing that I will do over here is go back. Over here, there is this print order confirmation page, which basically generates your simple bill. Let me go and copy this particular thing and paste it as an unauthenticated user. And as you can see that an unauthenticated user can also access the order and can also print the same. So this should not be actually available or accessible to an unauthenticated user. As you can see that an unauthenticated user can also access the files from this FTP server's perspective as well. Let me quickly open it again. As you can see over here that I can access it, right? So now we will again go back to the juice shop. Now this time this product is sold out. So let me just quickly go and intercept the proxy, and only 3 left. So just click on add to basket. So this is the product ID, basket ID, and the quantity. What I will do is I will say quantity as 5. I will send this to repeater for the later use. And then we'll just simply go and let's see what it does. We are out of stock. Sorry for the inconvenience. So what if I add some negative quantity to the cart? What happens? Let's see. And we are successfully able to add some negative quantity products on the cart. So in financial application or e-commerce application, what happens is that if you're able to add some negative amount items in the cart, you can also gain some price back in your cart. So right now there are like around 15,000 some currency. Let's click on checkout, select an address, select any delivery speed, and then click on this, right? Pay minus 14, and right now my wallet balance is 28. Let's see if my wallet balance goes up. This is the total price, and thank you for the purchase. And if you see that we have successfully solved a challenge, payback time, place an order that makes you rich. Okay, so what I will do next is I will go back to accounts, my payment options, or I will go back to account and then say digital wallet. And if you see that we have now some more amount rather than something which was not there. Let's add some more amount to our this wallet. There are multiple ways to do so. I will again capture the request using verb suite to see how things are handled. So what I will do is I will add a balance of 10,000 instead of 1,000, and it's a success. And if you see now the amount is even bigger, right? Now let's see if you see that it do not allow more than 1,000, but we added 10,000. So what we will do next is we will just send 10. Again, select any method, any card method, click on continue. And now what we are going to do is we are going to add a very big amount. So this should not be in the card. And if this is process successful, it means that they are not having any kind of validation. And if you see that 1 plus 1e plus 59, this amount, if somebody gets in their account, they will be very lucky, right? So this clearly tells us that there is no validation and we can add infinite number of amount in our wallet. Okay, so let's move again back to this juice shop. Now what we will do is we'll click on any product, and as you see that there is only one review. What I will do is I will just click on this like icon and see what happens. And this is liked. Okay, I can like this only one time, but what if I can actually bypass this business logic? So let me just quickly open this another product and let's write some review for it. imgsrs equals to x, on load equals to, or let's say on click equals to alert 1. Simply submit it up. It is not rendering. That's okay. So you can see the like button over here. Just click on intercept, click this like button up. This is ID. Let's see if this can be decoded into base 64 or something. Let's send it to decoder. Decode as base 64, but no use. Send it to the repeater and not allowed. Seems like there might be a race condition issue, but not at the moment. We cannot exploit it one by one, but we can surely check this issue for the race condition if we can do something. If you will see that if I will hover, I can edit the review. So let me just again enter some gibberish value, and if you see there are maximum limit of 160 characters. Let's see what happens if I provide characters more than 160. The change has been saved. Message, let me just copy it and repaste it like 1,000 times and send this to the repeater for the later use, and let's see what happens. And if you see that I am able to bypass the restriction and I am able to like inject a lot of characters instead of just 160. So this is again a more of a like limitation bypass. Some pen test companies or report this issue, or sometimes we report this. Okay, this is some recycling box request. There you can recycle something, I guess. Click on the address, intercept on, click on submit. So this is again user ID, address ID, and quantity. So what I can do is I can okay, so is pickup false, user ID 1. So basically what this is doing is we will deliver your recycle box ASAP. What I will do is now I will change the user ID to 2, and as you can see that now I can order a recycle box for somebody else. Similarly, if I change address ID to let's say 4, it's again like doing a successful, resulting into success. Now from the UI we cannot see any option called is pickup false or is pickup true. So what I will simply do is I will go over here, I will add another field called is pickup, and let's say what happens if I say is pickup true. Is it reflected or not?
So as you can see that is pickup is also reflected. So this parameter is again vulnerable to this parameter pollution attack, where I can pick up anything from the response, and I can put it on the request, and I can further get some interesting things out of from there. Also, we can see that there is API recycles 14. Let's see if there is something, if we can get it. So I will simply add 14 in front of it. And as you can see that I can also crawl this particular API and see what requests are made. So let me see if my number 12 request was made successful. Yeah, it was successful. I can see all the requests. So this is an IDOR issue, because I should not be able to list out or look at all those things. I can see for any user, I guess. Let's say 5. I can see for any user. You can see that user ID something different, pickup was true. So this is an IDOR issue that I am able to look at the other users recycle request as well. Now let's again look at the different functionalities of this application. And this is something that we looked at. Track order is something we looked at. Let's now start looking at the privacy and security. We will first check for the last login IP. Your IP address is 0000. Looks like a static page and nothing interesting as of now, so I will leave it. Then there is something called 2FA configuration. Let me just quickly see. Okay, so this allows you to secure the account with two-factor authentication. Scan the QR code into the authenticator app supporting the OTP to get started. So we will need to scan this with some authentication app like Authy or something, and provide the initial token and your current password. So what I will do is I will show you that how we can bypass the two-factor authentication in various ways. You can go to this Learn 365 GitHub repo. This is available on my GitHub account. There is some mind map for two-factor authentication bypass technique. And if you will see, this mind map has a lot of bypass techniques which you can basically try doing on this particular application or any application which you encounter during your pen test or bug bounty journey. So what I will do next is, just let me quickly remove this screen a bit here. Okay, so let's look at other things. Change password. I don't know the current password of this admin user, so let it be for a while. Let's just give any random password, test1 and test1. What I will check for is if there is any client-side verification bypass for the current password field. So what I will do simply is to remove this current field, and if you see that they are sending the password into the change password into the URL parameter. So this is something a bad practice, that you should not send such information in the URL parameter, and this can also be a security issue that the sensitive information is being sent into the URL parameter over port 8080, which is not encrypted by default. So let's see if I can change the password. And it seems like we are successfully able to change the password. Your password was changed successfully. So this means that there is no server-side validation on the current password field. As a result, I was able to give any current password, remove it from the original request, and just send the new password and repeat password field. And I was successfully able to change the password of this particular user admin. Now to verify this, I will simply log out, go to account and click on login. admin@jush-sh.op, and the password was, I guess, let me quickly verify, it was test1. So just to show you, and if you can see that I am successfully able to log in. So what if I use this URL to change password for any user? So let's go to a new account, click on login, click on not yet a customer, just enable proxy for it as well. Type any email like h@h.com, password like Harsh and Harsh. Now, what else I am doing over here is just capturing this request and changing the email to some XSS payload. Let's see if actually they are validating it or not. Let's say load equals to alert 1, and this to repeater again. Always send the interesting request to the repeater so that you always have some good things in your hand. Let's say add plus. So there is some unexpected error at position number 20. We are not sure what is the error. So let me just quickly send the normal request only so that at least we can check the first test case. Success. Back to login. .com, password will be Harsh. Now if you see I'm logged in, what I will do is I will use this password change request from the account one. I will simply go to this copy URL and I will send this to the victim user by any means possible. I am right now in my Mozilla Firefox. And you see this says that blocked illegal activity by this IP address. So this is somehow blocking the activity. So there might be something interesting happening on the backend. So let's just again send this request, and this changes the password for admin user at least, but not for some other user. So what I will do is I will again copy this URL, paste it right over here. And it seems like they are restricting it, right? So there is some restriction going on. They might be validating this authorization bearer token. Let me just pay attention to this bearer token for a while as well. Let's just send it to decoder. So they are basically using a JWT token, and it might be vulnerable to a lot of things because this is a deliberately vulnerable web application. There are a lot of chance that it will be. But still, what we can do over here is like once we are into a user's account, by any means possible, we can simply provide any password, remove the current password field, and change the password of the user. Now let me see what else is there. I will go to application. If you remember initially we forgot to check this thing. So they are storing this token on the local storage, and this is not a good practice to store the token in the local storage. It can be stolen by attacks like cross-site scripting. If there is, it can be stolen. This decode this using basics, which is the same token. There is something called this BID. Okay, so let me just change this BID to 5. Go back to my application, refresh it. So this looks like this BID is related to this basket ID over here. So what I will do is now you can see that successfully solved a challenge view basket of another user's basket. Okay, so right now I am not sure that which user's basket has some data in it. So let's see, or let me just quickly go to my this user, add something to it, this user's basket, add something to basket, go to inspect element, X application, storage, session storage, BID is 5. So let me change this BID to 5. And you can see that the apple juice is now added. And what if I remove this from the basket? Is it actually removing from the user's basket? Let me just quickly verify. Okay, so this also removes from the original user's basket. So this is again an IDOR based upon the session identifiers that they are using some numeric session identifiers for basket. And as a result, a user can simply access some other user's basket, delete it, or do some malicious action over there. Now, let's also check for some other interesting attacks like CSRF. So what I will quickly do over here is I will just go to my burp suite, enable the proxy, click on add to basket. This is the URL. So I will say, let's just quickly see if I can directly copy the URL and send it to the user and see if this works. So right now there is nothing in the basket. You can see that. Now I will use that API. So this is giving some unauthorized error because this is more on an API endpoint. So what I will do next is I will go here and say engagement tools, generate CSR POC, test in browser, click on copy, then open this link, submit request. Again, there is some authorization error. So it seems like they are validating some sort of authorization on this API. So what we will do is we will look at CSR for some other points, some other endpoints as well. But for now, like, let's look what else we can do with the application. Let's see that if there is anything interesting apart from the CSRF or apart from some other generic issues which we have seen, like file upload we tried, but we were not able to successfully perform a good file upload or kind of denial of service using file upload. I stopped my attempts so that the testing server do not get impacted by anything, so that at least we have like something to show you guys. Otherwise, if the server will go down like the previous one that we were initially using, it will create a mess out of everything. Okay, so let's see, let's go to some other thing. This is okay, this is opening up. Click on anything. Okay, so there is a one review which I cannot, which I can edit actually because I am admin right now in this account. So let me go back to the normal user account, click on this review, and as you can see that I cannot edit the review. Let me write a review, right? I have written review. Now let me click on edit review while capturing the request with Bob suite, obviously. Just edited the review, click on submit. I send it to the repeater so that I can use it later. Now what trick we will use over here to get the user ID of this is, I will click on this little icon over here, and now I have the ID of that particular comment review. We'll just quickly copy this up and let's replace this here. Okay, perfect. And as you can see that I have another challenge solved, that false review, that now the one of my favorites is now changed, I guess, to the other users, the I guess SADS something random string. So this is again an attack where I was able to change or perform an IDOR or broken access control issue again. So this is again a good thing that we were able to perform. Okay, so let's now again look at some new things, what we can do. Let's see if there is any support page. So if you see that by navigating the support/logs, this was already known directly to me. So I just quickly show you that now I can see the access log, download them. Let me just open this on the this side. Click on this, and I was able to download the access logs, and which I can further see. So access log, again, this was a challenge which was solved. This is a good thing that we are solving a lot of challenges. Now let's see what else we can do from here. Let's go to the search page. You can see that there is some query. Let's type in some fruits name, like, oh sorry, fruits name, right? Let's say apple. Okay, so there is nothing, just apple is getting returned. Let's give a single quote, nothing. Let's give a this bracket. Again, nothing interesting as of now. What else we can do over here is we can try to inject some more characters. And as of now, there is no error returned because there might be possibility that this is the online version. There are some issues which are actually not implemented in this particular version, but still I suspect that this queue parameter might be vulnerable to cross this SQL injection. So I will quickly go back over here, log into my VPS. Let's say SQL map -u. This. Let's say yes. It's saying that this is not vulnerable. So let me again quickly run it. This time I will say no. Again, this is saying that this is not vulnerable. So let me just enable temper script. And say yes. And again, this is not doing anything right now over here. So this is something that that might not be returning as something interesting. So now again, we will go back to the main application and see some more issues. So this application has a scoreboard. We will try to access it directly. So you can see that there are a lot of issues which are like kind of solved, unsolved. There are repeated registration. So these are some of the issues that we actually solved, but right now it's showing unresolved because we were on different instance that time. All the accesses are detected by this particular string only in this application. So we are not paying much attention to it. Not interesting enough issues for us. Let's see what else. Like let's say what broken access control issues or some other issues are there. So in this application, you can like actually get a lot of interesting issues to look at. Obviously, we cannot cover each and everything in the single video, but you can cover a lot of interesting issues in this. So let's see what else are there. I strongly recommend solving this lab by your own once because they have a good solution book. Also, that challenges they will teach you a lot of things in terms of pen testing, specifically to OWASP web and API top 10, because there are a lot of access control and other issues to look at, and they are sometimes like real world application that you will see in the real life applications, but you might miss them in the real world application itself. So we will not go much deeper directly into this scoreboard, what challenge they have. We will just simply follow the normal pen test approach. So again, let me see what are some other features like order history. And there is no order history as of now. Okay, there is some order history actually. So I can track order. I can write a review for a product which I have purchased. So just let me just quickly say write a review. And as there is some bonus over here.